The grand hall was packed, the lighting immaculate, and the audience composed of politicians, law scholars, and cultural icons. The event was meant to be a dialogue between art and law, how Hollywood portrays justice versus how it's applied. In the real world, among the key speakers were Chief Justice John Roberts and the celebrated actor Denzel Washington. On paper, it was supposed to be a courteous intellectual engagement, but what unfolded shocked everyone. Roberts, known for his calm demeanor and conservative restraint, entered the forum expecting to lead with judicial authority. Denzel, on the other hand, walked in with his signature humility and presence, a man comfortable with dialogue but unafraid of challenge. From the beginning, there was an unspoken tension in the air, one that hinted at an unexpected collision of intellects. Roberts began the session with a light tone, referencing several Hollywood portrayals of courtrooms as exaggerated for entertainment. He mentioned movies like A Few Good Men and Philadelphia, noting how the dramatization often distorts how justice is actually practiced. He then glanced toward Denzel and smirked slightly as he remarked, "Of course, Mr. Washington has played a lawyer, but only in a script written for him." The audience gave a polite laugh, but it was clear the comment was meant as a gentle jab. Denzel smiled, nodding in acknowledgement, but his eyes held something deeper. He was listening, calculating, and preparing to respond not with emotion, but with clarity. When it was Denzel's turn, he didn't strike back immediately. He praised the institution of the judiciary, emphasized the importance of checks and balances, and even complimented Roberts' long career. But then he added, "It's true, I've delivered lines written for me, but I've also spent hundreds of hours studying real law, talking to attorneys, judges, and prosecutors, not just to act well, but to understand deeply what justice is supposed to mean, because acting isn't about pretending. It's about reflecting truth." The tone shifted. The audience leaned in. Roberts remained composed, but tapped his pen, a subtle sign of unease. The game had begun. Roberts, not to be outdone, posed a hypothetical legal question designed to expose the supposed superficiality of a non-lawyer's understanding. "Mr. Washington," he said, "if a case hinged on the doctrine of stare decisis and a lower court applied precedent incorrectly due to a misinterpretation of Marbury v. Madison." The room went quiet. It was undeniably a complex question, one that would stump even a first-year law student. It was meant to humble, to assert legal dominance, but Denzel didn't blink. He calmly responded, "Well, Chief Justice, I'd begin by demonstrating how the misapplication undermines judicial consistency. I'd cite the original intent of Chief Justice Marshall's opinion, particularly how judicial review was framed not just as a power, but a responsibility, and then I'd show how that responsibility was distorted in the lower court's decision." The room erupted in applause, not because of theatrics, but because Denzel had just gone toe-to-toe with one of the sharpest legal minds alive, and held his ground. Roberts raised his eyebrows. For a split second, his usual poker face gave way. "To surprise, impressive," he admitted. What followed was even more revealing. Roberts shifted to questioning the moral obligation of artists to reflect social issues. In film, he asked, "Do you ever worry that representing flawed legal systems may increase distrust in our institutions?" Denzel didn't hesitate. "I worry more about a system that refuses reflection. If people trust only silence and not critique, then it's not trust, it's fear. And if film exposes that fear, maybe it's doing exactly what it should." Applause again. Denzel had done more than respond. He had elevated the conversation beyond ego, beyond legalese, into the realm of moral truth. As the discussion progressed, it became clear that this wasn't a competition. It was a revelation. Roberts began to shift his tone, engaging not with condescension, but curiosity. Denzel, for his part, continued to blend legal insight with humanistic wisdom. He quoted historical cases, referenced civil rights, jurisprudence, and even brought up lesser-known legal battles that influenced Hollywood storytelling. The crowd, once anticipating a clash, now watched a transformation. A Chief Justice initially prepared to lecture was now leaning into a conversation he hadn't expected to learn from, and an actor, often underestimated because of his profession, was demonstrating an intellect that transcended profession and title. Asterisk, after the event. Media outlets exploded with headlines. Denzel outsmarts the bench. Chief Justice. Schools actor. Not quite. Social media users shared clips of the exchange, with millions of views pouring in within hours. People from all walks of life, laws, students, moviegoers, educators, and even former judges commented on how Denzel had exposed a long-held bias that knowledge is reserved only for those with formal titles. His brilliance wasn't just in knowledge, but in how he handled the moment with humility, respect, and clarity. Roberts, to his credit, gave a post-event interview where he said, "I underestimated Denzel Washington's command of legal theory, and I appreciated the lesson." Asterisk Denzel, meanwhile, didn't gloat. In interviews, he said, "It's not about being smarter, it's about being prepared. I've always believed that if you take the time to learn what matters, nobody can take that from you." He later revealed that for years, he'd been mentoring young black law students through an informal program, helping them connect with real-life professionals and encouraging them to combine legal training with empathy and cultural understanding. That revelation sent waves across the legal and entertainment communities alike. Denzel wasn't just playing at legal brilliance, he had been living it all along. Asterisk, the impact didn't end at the forum. Law schools began inviting Denzel to speak, not as a celebrity, but as a thought leader. One prominent university even offered him an honorary law degree, citing his remarkable application of legal knowledge and civic discourse. Legal blogs ran deep analyses of his response to Roberts' hypothetical, breaking down just how accurately he had captured the spirit of judicial review. The entire episode had become a case study not in courtroom drama, but in intellectual equality. It reminded the public that brilliance doesn't need a bench or a robe to be valid. It just needs voice, preparation, and courage. Asterisk for Judge Roberts, the moment proved humbling, but also enlightening, he reportedly told close colleagues. That he would never again underestimate the intellectual reach of someone outside the courtroom. The law, he said in one memo, belongs to the people, not just those who practice it. It was a powerful admission, and one that Denzel never demanded but undeniably earned. Their clash, though unintended, had forged a strange but profound respect between two men from vastly different worlds who found common ground in truth. Asterisk, and for audiences around the globe, it became more than a viral clip. It became a symbol of how dignity, preparation, and truth can disarm even the most calculated challenge. Denzel Washington showed that real brilliance isn't loud, it's precise. Doesn't grandstand, it educates. And when tested, it doesn't falter, it flourishes. The encounter became legendary not because it was explosive, but because it illuminated what so many people forget. Intelligence is everywhere, and it wears many faces.